Hello, I'm Nicole. I'm the founder of Wonderstars. I'm very excited today to join WordPress London. I'm going to be talking actually about LinkedIn and how you as a digital agency owner can attract your best clients on LinkedIn without the spam. Now, I know you might think, oh my God, LinkedIn, but I promise you my talk is going to be action-packed, lots of fun and lots of examples for you to learn from and actually to get more clients on LinkedIn. See you in the talk. I'm going to show you how you can use that time really wisely with LinkedIn, because it's one of the strategic activities you can do to really enhance your profile and attract new opportunities. So thank you very much for having me today. It's not going to be tech, not a trick question. You all had some networking, so I hope you're ready for this. Now, when you look at this picture, what do you think all these three things have in common? So you could be a WordPress or a digital marketing or design agency. You could be sitting in a white van, apologies, I never pronounced that very well, transporter. Or you could be wearing a British school uniform. What do you think these things have in common? Well, when you're in one of them, it's really easy to blend in because they kind of all look the same, right? And sometimes, when you're on the hunt, it's a really good thing because suddenly your prey will not know that you're trying to catch it. However, we're going to talk about marketing today, marketing yourself, marketing your agency. And in those situations, I like to share this quote with you. Marketing is a contest for people's attention. Now let's just sink that in. So if you are just being like everyone else, you sound like everyone else on LinkedIn or on your website or in your profile, there are so many of you and it's really hard to stand out. Now, I know when you hear LinkedIn, you're not most excited. However, I'm going to show you today how you can get your ideal people. Do you know the kind of people who make fill your heart with joy, as we said earlier? How they will notice you. Now, this orange van is actually a real van. It was in my local community. We were looking for a builder. Would I be looking for someone really boring? I don't know what services they offer. I don't know what it's like to work with them. Or will I go for someone who really stands out and has got this beautiful wrap? So I'm going to show you tonight how to achieve that. Then thank you so much for your lovely introduction. So I won't stay on this very long. Just to point out to you that picture in the middle, that's my lovely family. They're one of the reasons why I set up that business, Wonderstars. And yes, I hope to see some of you, especially Thiago, at Cabo Press, which is an event in Mexico, where I'll be delivering a full talk on LinkedIn. Okay, so today, this is what we're going to cover. I know, I've got to do some selling to you on LinkedIn, right? So that you can actually see the opportunities for yourself. I'm going to tap into some of these self-limiting beliefs. Now, Thiago has already mentioned a few. I'm going to show you how to not be salesy Sam. I'm going to help you to supercharge your profile. So whether you are a WordPress developer looking for that next job, speak to that guy, he's really nice. Or whether you're part of an agency and you're helping your agency team to really increase your visibility so that you can land better clients. Or whether you're that agency owner who likes to be a little bit visible but knows they should really step up on LinkedIn, this talk is for you. I'm going to show you how you can adapt that beautiful orange van strategy, then 2 posts, which will get you links, and some quick wins for you. You guys ready? By show of hand, I want to hear, are you ready? I really appreciate it. I don't often get that much excitement when I say the word LinkedIn, so I know I have a hard job here. Now, why LinkedIn? So when you are a SEO agency, a WordPress agency, a marketing design agency, chances are you probably get a lot of referrals, which is amazing. It means you're doing amazing creative work and your clients love you. People are likely to look you up on Clouds, they're likely to Google you. But nowadays, they're also likely to look you up on LinkedIn, and it is actually the world's largest business-to-business social networking platform. And I promise you, you don't actually have to do all that much to be really good at it. Because I know you are busy. We had Thiago's talk. We are all busy. So we're going to do this in a time-saving manner. Now, the thing which makes a huge difference on LinkedIn, which actually I think where we can all find some interest in it, it's a tool to share your stories. People want to get to know the people behind the brand. I was chatting to Malcolm earlier. He told me a little bit how you help clients get better conversations. LinkedIn is that kind of tool where you can do this globally. Anyone here a Star Wars fan? Knew it. Myself included. So George Lucas, he said this: when people get to know the people behind your product/service and how it's made, they talk about you more. And this is something he used in his own marketing, and it really works for you as an agency as well. And I know I'm going to do some convincing on that, so bear with me. All right, so when you do LinkedIn really well, smartly, not spending hours on Canva looking at Fiat, not worrying too much about WordPress updates in that minute, it really helps you to get noticed by your ideal people, by the kind of clients who bring you joy. You can build trust and you can build conversations, which can lead to new clients. You finally can rely less on referrals because LinkedIn is actually a really good sales tool. And you have more time for agency growth. You have more time to spend with your family, to go to Malta, to go back to Hong Kong, wherever it might be. So this all sounds good, hopefully, so far. But I know we're keeping it real here, and this is what I love with WordPress event. I'm going to be back on the 12th of December for the social. I know you might be facing some pretty tough LinkedIn fears. And I don't just want to gloss over them to pretend they're not there, because when I work with agencies, yes, it is about the know-how, but mostly it's about the mindset. And, Tiago's talk has really helped with that. Because you might be saying, oh my God, I need to take LinkedIn more seriously. I heard that German Nicole speaking on that stage. I need to take it more seriously. But then 6 months later, nothing has happened. It still looks the same. It just looks like a ghost town. Usually, this is what I hear. Nicole, I don't want to come across as boastful. I live in Britain. We don't like selling. Now, do you know what? LinkedIn is so much more than a selling platform. It's about learning. It's about being sociable and building connections. And, when you are a business owner, really embracing that discomfort of promoting yourself, promoting your agency is part of what we do. I would say it's part of a job description. The next one, but Nicole, I'm really worried what my peers will say. Hey, do you know what? Who cares about your peers? If they're good people, they're going to be supportive. We move through our careers with the people we love and like. We stay in touch, right? I feel like tonight I've come back a full circle. I used to start off at the Financial Times. And there's people in here I've met years ago. So you're good people you stay in touch with. So don't worry what your peers are thinking. If they're good people, they're going to be supportive. And essentially, you are not writing for your peers. You are doing this to position yourself to open up new opportunities. So I hope you can put this one to bed. And I promise you people are more supportive than you expect. Now, the next one. I hear this a lot. Nicole, I have nothing interesting to say. No one wants to hear about my stories. You're smiling now. If we dig deep and we just treat ourselves as people, this is a social media platform. We all have something interesting to say. But in case you find this area particularly difficult, hang on, I've got a freebie for you to cover you with post ideas. In my experience, with all of these fears, and I'm sure it's the same with when you're growing your company, when you take action, it builds confidence. And this is a client of mine. He came to me. Oh my goodness. Nicole, I don't want to share any stories. I'm based in Malta. I'm loving my business and I want to expand internationally. But the last thing I want to do is talk about myself. So we tackled that fear. And suddenly he started sharing about his journey from the UK to Malta. He talked about not having to wear a suit any longer. He got featured in the local business press. And he got lots and lots of attention. Now, none of it was really, really difficult, but it just took that amount of taking action. And if you want to hear it in his own words, he actually went live with me on LinkedIn talking about that experience for 30 minutes. And he shared so many amazing tips. He's a lovely guy, so I would encourage you to have a look on my feed. LinkedIn is too spammy. Yes? Is it too spammy? Are you finding LinkedIn spammy? Yeah? No? Oh, good. Wow. Do less selling, less This is what I hear a lot. What I was going to say to you in that case is actually email can be very spammy, right? But when you want to promote your business, when you want to build new connections, you still continue using email. And I'm still just going to show you how to not be spammy, how to not be salesy Sam. It could be a man, it could be a woman, because all you actually need to do is see it as a human-to-human platform. Whether you're trying to get in front of that juicy client in that bigger company, or you actually just want to reach out to their marketing director. All you need to do is date first. My husband, we've been together now for 29 years, married for 21 years. We dated for 8 years. Now, I'm not saying you need to date for 8 years, but I want you to find out what things do you have in common with that person you want to get in front of. What are things you like about their content? What do they need? Is there actually a fit? So don't just connect with them and send them a proposal straight away, because that's what the spammy nature is of LinkedIn. And we will have all experienced it in our LinkedIn inbox. So just be differently. Think about when you met your girlfriend, your existing wife, maybe the second wife. What did you do for the dating? Maybe you made an effort with what you were wearing. You were thinking about which restaurant to take her to. So treat LinkedIn in the same way. If you want more practical tips on this, how do you then actually build a connection? You can use humor. I can totally see how Thiago would do that. Be more relatable. Don't share your tips and your insights from a really sort of high pedestal. Make them relatable to people you're working with so that it's actually relevant to them. Be helpful. We all like being helpful, right? I've observed conversations in these rooms where you are sharing tips. Just do the same on LinkedIn. It isn't any different. Ask questions. Listen, encourage some real dialogue. Don't just use it as a sort of, I'm talking at you and now I'm going to run away. Actually stick around. Don't chat to people. These things are pretty straightforward, right, Marco? You would use the same strategies for building a conversation in person. So essentially, see LinkedIn such as a virtual networking event. Now, we talked in Thiago's talk about growing your business and how business development and sales is actually really important. Arguably, LinkedIn can fall into that because your personal profile, your agency website is actually hopefully your best performing sales page. And I know it can be a little bit annoying to keep it up to date, but if you have a good strategy behind, if you know why you're doing that and you do it well, you can have so much success with it. But here's just a couple of things I want you to ask yourself, and whether you do this yourself or you take it back to your marketing team or you talk to your agency. Just think of these things. Is it actually easy to find you? Have you optimized your profile with the keywords? Do you have a current photo? Always worth just Googling yourself, even though it does feel a little bit creepy, and just see what comes up and to make sure it's actually people can find you. Is it easy to refer you? By that, I mean, if your client says, hey, we have someone who needs a similar project, are you happy to share your LinkedIn profile? If you are not, it suggests to me you probably need updating it. So it's really important that you talk about the kind of projects you work on, the kind of clients you help, and what people can expect from you. And finally, everything you put on there, is it as irresistible as bees to honey? Now, what do I mean by that? I think if you are busy, and you all sound like a busy community, it's no point doing things in an uber boring way. Don't sound like everyone else, because then you'll get ignored anyway. But if you want to get your agency onto a best shortlist, it's time to really do things slightly differently and to really consider, how do we stand out? How do we make our clients feel? How can I, working for an agency, make my boss feel? So really paint a positive picture. And I know sometimes selling yourself is a little bit icky. But we said earlier, we got to deal with these self-limiting beliefs, and sometimes taking small steps builds your confidence. Now, do you have a unique voice on LinkedIn? And this is particularly important to say nowadays, where the temptation is to use AI for a lot of content creation. So do you actually sound a little bit different? And apologies, I created this image using AI years ago. My AI creation images still haven't moved on, but I'm just proving the point. If you use copy on LinkedIn, where you don't adjust it, where you don't make it sound like you, it's going to be as terrible as this photo. I promise you that. So don't do that. Think about, what can you do uniquely that shows off your ways of working with your clients, your ways of working with your colleagues. Someone who does this really, really well, and we have limited women in the audience. Hello, Hannah. I'm so pleased I have this example. This is Angela. I met her on LinkedIn, and I absolutely love the way Angela has adopted her LinkedIn profile to be a bit different. You don't see many women in boxing gloves and that lovely purple with a really good strapline. So it's actually quite easy to make your profile stand out. And if you want to check her out, go on LinkedIn, Angela Mertzim. Now, the other thing she does really, really well, she shares her stories. It's a little bit like when I reflect on tonight, and I had an opportunity to chat to some of you. What things did you remember? I know you guys will remember that I got married in Hong Kong, right? because we have that link in common. Louisa and I will remember that we both spoke at Brighton SEO. This is all about sharing stories, and it's similar on LinkedIn. So you probably have more interesting things to say to connect to the people you want to attract to when you think. Just take action and start sharing. And Angela does this really well. And I just wanted to tell you, she was in that shoe where she said, oh, clearly I have to sound like everyone else, but she knew that wasn't getting her results. So she changed her approach and she really conquered her fears. And I hope I encourage you tonight to do the same. So going back to your profile, think about who are you writing it for? This is not to appeal to everyone. You want to appeal to your ideal people for your agency, maybe to that next potential boss. You want to stack it really with keywords. You want to have some talking points. So I'm sorry, I go on a lot about having been born in former Eastern Germany, just because it gives me a lot of stories to talk about. It makes me, hopefully, my content a little bit more memorable. So what is the thing about you could mention? Add some social proofs. Hands in the room who's had a current recommendation on LinkedIn in the last 6 months. Excellent. I'm really pleased to see that. Guys, you are really losing out on some fantastic marketing opportunities. So if there's one thing you take away from this talk, other than being braver on LinkedIn, is to actually get some recommendations, particularly when you're job hunting. Ask your former peers and your colleagues to write your recommendations. If you're an agency, or you're part of an agency, ask your colleagues. It's really easy to do. You want to have a good photo, relatively current, where you're smiling into the camera. Even when you go to an event like this and you ask the photographer to take a quick picture of you, that will do. That will be perfect. And really, you want to show that you understand your audience. So really talk about the issues you help them resolve. So very easy to supercharge a profile. This is just going back to Fabio, who thought he had no interesting stories. We did an entire new banner, entire new copy, and it just really means it positions him nicely to reach clients outside of Malta. He's been featured in the local business press. They picked it on some of his stories, and he's now traveling to events, and he's really loving his new LinkedIn profile. He's got no more LinkedIn shame. So all of this said, how can you stand out? Because I know that's going to be the icky point. Thinking of yourself of, not being that white transporter where you sound and look like everyone else. You want to be in that orange one. Really think about how can you woo your audience? A little bit like all three speakers tonight, we've thought about what's most relevant to you. And, if it's WordPress 6.6 or if it's being a CEO or if it's using on LinkedIn, we thought very carefully, how can we pitch our messages to appeal to you, to be helpful to you? LinkedIn is the same. So think about what can I do to woo my audience, to make them dance? And the biggest step here is really to try and walk in their shoes. It's a little bit when you take a project brief for a new website or an e-marketing campaign. You figure out, okay, so what is it you want to sell? Who do you appeal to? What are the reasons why they would normally buy from you? What would be the reasons for them to reach out to you? And it's the same with LinkedIn. So walk into your audience's shoes. So just a little bit, if you were a designer, have we got any designers other than Thiago in the room? Any designers? Gentleman over there, excellent. So, if I'm choosing a designer, it's really hard to know who to trust, right? Because, how do I know what their work will be like? What if I don't like their design? How long will it take? Will I have time to actually approve it and to share my feedback? What if they're too expensive? I don't have a budget for design work. Clearly, we need to speak to Dear Design, who figured that out, because all the money they save as a CEO, Louise, onto you. So these are all real questions your potential clients could have. So answer those questions in your about copy, in the post you have. I usually get one about LinkedIn coaching. How much time do I have to invest? Or I have nothing interesting to say. So in my content, I talk about these things. You also want to know why now? What's their reason for reaching out to a new WordPress developer, to a new agency? And you want to create your content which speaks to those reasons. So often when someone needs a new website, it could be like a really busy marketing executive, right? It might be that a competition has launched a new site, or they don't have enough clients, or maybe they have website shame. Maybe they just want to level up. And this picture is actually quite typical of someone who works in marketing. I've worked in marketing now for 23 years. Last corporate position was a marketing director. Your potential clients feel like that a lot. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot going on. They're stressed. How can you help them feel better about their jobs? How can you save them time? Talk about these reasons in your LinkedIn post. When you do that really well, This is one of my personal content marketing heroes, Andrew Davis. If you ever can, check out his YouTube channel. Content builds relationships, and relationships are built on trust, and that really drives revenue. Do you know, Dan said earlier that work with clients across the world. Well, I'm only based in my London office. I have a small team. I work from home. But with my content, I appeal to a global audience, and a lot of it is done via LinkedIn. So it can totally be done. Now, going back to making your audience dance, and no, Paul, I'm not going to dance. We had that little chat earlier. So really just to cap here, who's it for? Use their words. Show you truly get them. Tell them how stressful it is to commission a new branding project or to update your website and to be worried that the server might break down. Because it is, I've been in charge of these projects from anything from £5,000 upwards, commissioning an agency, also doing it for my own business. It is stressful. So you want to understand that you want to show you understand that marketing executive who has to pitch to their finance director, who has to pitch to the board, who really don't give marketing and couldn't really give something about a new website. Speak their language, make it easier for them to win at these crucial meetings, offer them the information, offer them the support. Most importantly, you also want to make things easy to read and comment. My favorite tool, actually, and I didn't bring their logo, but is Authored Up. It allows you to draft your posts and it gives you the reading score level. So when I started off writing, my reading level was about 13. I've now brought it down to 4 or 5 because people are in a rush on LinkedIn, right? We don't want to have to take in something really long. So make it really easy to read, which ultimately makes it actually easier to create some good posts. And don't play it safe. Be happy to share some stories. Be happy to stand out, to take an opinion. We are all human beings. Create some interest. Now, just some examples here. Fabio, he's been on some events, and he doesn't just say, hey, I've been on the event, such an event, but here are also some networking tips. Another client of mine, he did LinkedIn so well that he got invited to a podcast, so he talks about that, he shares themes. Do you know this is your behind the scenes? I like to call that behind the scenes. All the things you do, like going to these events, doing a training course, you do anyway, and they're totally share-worthy on LinkedIn. If you can add your insights and tips to it in a relatable way, it worked really, really well. Another client of mine, actually, top 5 digital product agencies, JP, is very much into digital brand experience and AI. So he shares posts around that, he shares his tips, he's now going live on LinkedIn. So don't be afraid of really leaning into the things you love. When JP came to me, his biggest worry was that I have so many topics, Nicole. He's got actually ADHD. I've got so many topics, I don't know what to choose. So we created a strategy for him, which really works to his strengths. And any new tool, whether it's like product management tool or whether it's LinkedIn as a social media tool, just work an approach which works for you as a person. And when you need help, get some help, train yourself up. There's lots of courses out there. It's totally worth doing. JP's only been on LinkedIn more active recently, and already his prospects are quoting back his LinkedIn lives. And that's just music in his ears because it means in terms of their competition, he wins because he's seen as the expert. He's not just saying my agency PowerShifters is amazing. People can see it. They can watch his videos. They can read his LinkedIn posts. They can connect. One thing I would say, though, and I'm always trying, it's really hard when I talk about LinkedIn. It's not easy. People want to be entertained. People want to learn something new. If you find a way of combining that, I'm German, so I don't have a good sense of humor, but I'm sure many of you do. If you find a way of showing humor and personality in your posts, you're more likely to get noticed faster. So lean into that. Any quirky sites you have, whether you play in a rock band, I'm not sure why I'm looking at Nathan, I'm not sure he does that. But whatever it is, show up with that on LinkedIn. It's a sociable platform. It's not as stuffy and formal as you might remember it from the days gone. A lovely peer of mine, I met her on the LinkedIn Content Creator Program. Who you are is who you bring to the job. And when you provide a service, nothing more could be true. People expect you to do amazing work, right? But they also expect to get to know you as a person. Here's just some examples. Conrad, one of my clients, he never wanted to share anything personal. He's a data guy. He loves Google Analytics, SEO, and all of that shenanigans. Sorry, I didn't just say that. But the moment he shares a picture of him and his dog or taking his son on holiday, this is when he gets huge engagement. So think about when you post tips and you share your expertise, warm up your audience, make them dance, sometimes share something personal. Here, this is just my lovely family. We were going to Andrew Palmer's restaurant. Some of you will know him. And I just took the mickey of my husband saying how I never listened to his business advice because frankly, it's not so good. That's all I'm going to say. Another picture here from an agency business manager. I just recently interviewed him, ETM Solutions. They're a huge team. They have some fun in the office. They have a table tennis tournament. And how do I know this? I visit their company page. They show the agencies they support what it's like to work with them. And it's probably easier than you think. So if you want some good examples, I definitely say follow that lead by E2M Solutions. His team is doing an amazing job. And if you want to find out how he does that, watch the live interview I did with him just earlier, a couple of days ago. Build your stage your way. What does Nicole Osborne mean by that? Show off your culture, show off your values, because that shows what makes you human. Share your processes. I know you love a good chat about processes and SOPs, right? Talk about how you work with your clients. Are you going to make it easier for them to perform really well at that first meeting, which frankly can be quite scary if I'm a marketing junior and my finance director is in the room? How do you make that easier for them? Show off your team. What do they love doing in the breaks? Why are they passionate about certain projects? But most importantly, share your stories and how you make your clients feel. And I say this to a tech audience because I know you guys have a tendency, ladies and guys, you have a tendency to hide behind tech graphs and a lot of page builder names and a lot of acronyms. Frankly, a lot of marketing people who commission you projects don't necessarily understand. Back to Fabio. So he shared his stories. One day he even posted that he bought a Ferrari. He hasn't bought a Ferrari. He's not that kind of person. But he's used his humor. So think about how you can engage with your audience. Now, I told you a little bit how to be different, how to be that orange van as opposed to the white transporter. But why are you doing all this? You're probably doing this to build your career and to attract the kind of leads to your agency which turn into the kind of projects which give you joy. So my final bit, and I haven't seen the 5 minutes sign, so I'm delighted. Oh, excellent. I want to show you 2 actual post ideas because, you probably go on LinkedIn to make some leads for your business, right? Whether it's for you as a freelancer or for your agency, or maybe you working in-house in a company. All of our jobs involve some form of business development and selling, and it's a good thing. So 2 types of posts I absolutely adore for opening conversations and for getting leads for my own business. But I also know they work for my clients. Polls. Another word I can't pronounce really well. But all a poll is really, I show you some examples, is where you ask a really short question and you give your audience some options. Do you know why they work so well? Because most people are lurking on LinkedIn in the kind of way that they don't feel confident enough to say something or to really share an opinion, because we said this earlier, what will their peers think? But if you share a poll, it's so easy to click one of the options. Now you, as the person who writes that poll, is really quick to do. You get the insights on all the answers you've been given. So I regularly, maybe I say, how happy do you feel with your LinkedIn strategy? It's gathering dust. It delivers leads. We don't have one. All of these 3 options enable me then to go back to that person and to open a dialogue in a way which is not spammy because they have just posted on my poll. Also some examples here from my other clients. So polls is one of these things. If you're not doing it yet, try it out once a week. It's really easy because it will get those people who you might be able to help with your services to say, hey, I'm here. This is a problem I struggle with. And because the results are anonymous, got 5 minutes sign, only you will see them. People tend to reply to them. Now, the second one, and I do this a lot because I generally love helping agency owners step up their visibility, be more confident. It's sharing client stories. Now, you would have all worked on projects that it's worked out really, really well for their company. Maybe they exceeded their sales targets. Maybe they increased their opening rate. Maybe their website has got less downtime. Talk about these client stories. Why did people come to you originally? Why did you enjoy that project? What was the impact you had on that client? What is your human connection with them? When you do that, you create FOMO, which is fear of missing out. It keeps you top of mind with your current clients who feel amazing about working with you because you must be a very successful agency. It shares your expertise in a non-salesy way. And it really shows your impact because no one buys a new page builder. What they buy is an increase in sales calls, an increase in bookings. So you can show off these transformation stories. I do this all the time and I love doing this. So I went live with Fabio. This is how I work in my little Zoom office with sometimes when my clients come to London because I don't get to see them very often, I take them for an afternoon tea. Do you know, or if it's a technical result, I mean, look at what Conrad has done. It's just a screenshot showing some stats. And that post alone is like, obviously, you can do that. But it's just about sharing that story with impact and not being afraid of showing it off. Look, this is Aaron. They design hospitality spaces. And, his client had just opened a new site. And come on, everyone can do a picture like that with a little story. It creates FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay. I talked a lot. It's late at night. 3 quick wins. Are you ready for 3 quick wins? I promise you it's only going to be 3. Excellent. Thank you very much. Haha. Make it easy to comment. That is so important because people are worried about sounding silly on LinkedIn. I mean, I do. I don't want to sound silly. So if you make it really easy for me to say something positive and make it easy to comment, I'm more likely to do that. The minute you do that, the LinkedIn algorithm will classify this post as a more favorable post because people are engaging with it. So think of an easy question to ask. And if you want to see that in action, this is something I work on all the time on my own profile, feel free to comment because hopefully I will have said something really easy. Don't hide from your leads. This is like spending money on advertising, even if it's just time invested and then just ignoring it. So I really wanted just to show you what are leads. Leads for people who have potential interest could be likes on your post, shares, comments, someone who viewed your profile, you can figure that out. Someone who sent you a DM, who talked to you about their problems. Those are all leads. So figure out how you want to follow them up in a non-spammy way. The emphasis is really on getting to know them first and finding out what their problems are and being helpful. Woo your audience. Be yourself. Share your stories. Be a human on LinkedIn. It is a virtual networking platform. If you are still stuck with some ideas, I didn't do a QCR code, but go to my website, download this awesome guide, 30 free content ideas that will help you to sell, promote, share your stories, particularly for digital agencies. So hopefully you find something easy in there. Thank you so much for today. I know doing LinkedIn, like at this time of night, and this is past my bedtime, to be fair. You've done really, really well. And thank you. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and please open the floor to any questions you might have.